Months ago, I passed through this corner of the Southwest without stopping. I was en route to Colorado, focused on the road ahead. But something about the land, its starkness, its vast indifference stuck with me. The kind of place that doesn't have to ask for your attention, you're already completely immersed. I remembered the wind most of all. Relentless, pulling at the truck, scouring the flats, but beyond it, out past the highway's edge, I'd glimpsed a canyon system that seemed to recede infinitely, layer after layer of stone pulled back like pages in a forgotten book. Now I return, just one day carved out of a longer journey, a day to follow a hunch, or maybe just a restlessness I couldn't shake. I hoped the canyon might offer shelter from the wind. What I found instead was something older than any map could promise, something that reminded me of why I keep coming back to places like this. So I'm sitting here in my truck and thinking that possibly I should just change the name of my channel to the Windy Wanderer or something. Every time that I go out, it is so windy. And it could be just the time of year, but it doesn't matter if I'm in Utah or northern Arizona. It really does. It affects the sound. It affects me being able to fly the drone. But it is such a privilege to be out here, and I have a canyon here I'm looking at that I really do want to explore. It seems pretty deep. It's like a little slot canyon that I think will hold some unique, unique something. That's what we're looking for. But hopefully it's deep enough and narrow enough that the wind just comes right over the top and we can just explore it. We're just going to hike until we find something. So anyways, not making any apologies yet because there might not be bad footage. So anyways, let's go find something. Lots of cattle in here. It's nice though because it gives a good trail. Those storm clouds that you see there, don't they make for some beautiful photography though? On video it sure makes everything pop when you've got a sky like that. Isn't this exciting? You never know what you're going to find when you get up on a place like this. Over here was where the sheep was at, and then you see the amount of cattle sign that's in this area. There's cattle here all the time, evidently. But then you start to see these rocks here, like they seem so out of place, right? And oh wow, I see some more writing back there, so I'll have to check that out. But look here. You see the wall over here? Little bit of a remains of a wall right there. So this rock evidently at one time was part of a structure here. film this up closer. I just wanted you to get to see it from kind of my angle here. It's got a fantastic overhang over the top. You can still see the remains of mud up against the wall there. And come over here, you can see a little bit of the structure still there. So I was just over there at the end of the alcove, and I had walked back over to where my dog was when my son pointed out a panel I had completely walked past. I was so focused when I came in on the sheep images, I did not even see these faint images in the rock varnish. We just dropped into this canyon here. I mean, literally, once we got to the bottom, we're not 200 yards into it, and there was a panel here. I had just dropped into the canyon. The first alcove I found showed signs of an old structure, barely holding together with petroglyphs nearby. I kept walking towards the main drainage, spotting a patch of green below and looking for a safe way down. As I turned to scan the canyon, I froze. Up ahead, tucked beneath an overhang, was a stone structure. Its window was staring straight back at me. The route to the dwelling looked simple at first, but as often the case with these sites, the approach turned out to be anything but. The structure sat only about 75 yards away, but from this side there was no clear way to reach it. I stood there for a moment weighing the options, then I turned knowing I had to try from the other side. There was thick brush to push through, maybe poison ivy, and a sand cliff I'd have to climb, but I had to go. I was too close to walk away now. Thank goodness for the cattle, or you would never get through this. Now, no doubt, the time period those were there, they had a trail of some sort. But, 800 years later, you have this complete undergrowth. I only had to go I was within 100 yards of it, but getting to it. So now I got to try to get up this. So bear with me. We're going to get there. I don't want to come this far again and not be able to get there. All right. Okay. Grab hold of. So as I was walking up, I didn't even see that. Now that I'm walking back out, there's a petroglyph there. And right over here I have some bullet holes, some cowboy, I call it cowboy bullet holes. Normally the cowboys found all these areas before us in this time period found it. So sometimes they took target practice. Look, there's my son and my dog. Just right there. But getting up and over, not so easy. Oh boy. Just wanted to get a little bit better perspective of what this looks like overall. There's the Christmas tree. But it's really this area right over here. There's all types of carvings in this rock. This was the first time I'd come across carvings like these on a flat surface. I believe others have seen carvings like this before, but for me, seeing them in person was something special. The deep grooves may have been used for sharpening tools, while the small depressions likely served as mortars. Not far from the dwelling, maybe 100 yards, was a large natural basin, a reliable catchment that probably held water through much of the year. It would have been an essential part of daily life here. And across the canyon, another panel came into view. This place clearly was part of a larger story, rich in signs of those who once called it home. I came back to this country with no real plan, just a memory of the wind and a vague notion that something had been left unfinished. What I found was more than I expected, though perhaps exactly what I'd hoped for in ways I couldn't articulate until now. I've long believed that the past isn't something we uncover, it's something that reveals itself when it's ready. One day, one canyon, and a reminder that there are still places in the American Southwest where silence holds the last word. I was just fortunate enough to listen in.